right. So I am not going to be able to see everyone's hands go up or anything. So if you have questions, we'll wait till the end, but we'll get through this process. So welcome to the Creative Sector Flex Fund info session. Like I said, my name is Mona Wiley. I'm the program specialist at the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council, and that is my email address. If you need to contact me, just reach out to me at grants@pittsburghartscouncil.org. Right. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. Some of you are probably familiar with the grant. Some of you are not. This is the first time, so we're going to cover a little bit more basic information about it. So the Creative Sector Flex Fund provides support to eligible applicants that provide consistent annual levels of artistic programming and or art services in Pennsylvania. We only offer one application per applicant per year that may be submitted. And the eligible use of funds are kind of flexible. So that's what makes this grant really unique and incredible. The grant can support applicants' administrative, programmatic, and program-related expenses. So depending on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts budget and availability of funds, grant amounts will be in $5,000 increments per applicant. So the goals of the Creative Sector Flex Fund is as follows: to expand constituent access to the arts across the state of PA, to make arts programs available to communities that have been underserved in the past by state arts funding. This is all too familiar for so many of us. And to encourage the support, to encourage and support local decision-making in the regranting of arts dollars. So we are receiving this funding from the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts to redistribute within our counties. I can switch, there it is. Okay, so who can apply for the grant? Arts and culture organizations with a 501c3 or fiscally sponsored entities operating in Allegheny, Beaver, Greene, and Washington counties. You must be registered with the Pennsylvania Bureau of Corporations, except for local governments and fiscal sponsors. Have a history of at least 2 years of consistent arts programming in PA. Have an annual average arts revenue of $10,000 to $200,000. We determine the revenue size by the 2-year average that's demonstrated by either the arts organization, so the most recent form, which is the 990, and for arts program of a nonprofit organization, or whose 990 is a postcard, applicant's board committee approved art-specific program financial statement from the most recent completed 2 fiscal years. So that is the biggest important factor here, is the last 2 years. So the fiscal year you're currently in, or the fiscal year you just wrapped up, and the one prior. So however it falls in your budget or your fiscal years or calendar years, whatever that works for you. What is supported? The Creative Sector Flex Fund provides $5,000 grants for organizations to use to best impact their organization and community. So the eligible use of funds are flexible. And like I said earlier, it includes the support for administrative, programmatic, and project-related expenses. So that feels broad, but we can tell you what is restricted. So activities outside of the activity period, and that will be January 1, 2025 to December 31, 2025. So that is the activity period. Activities that have a religious purpose, payments to lobbyists, cash prizes and awards, benefit activities, hospitality expenses, including reception, party, things like that. Capital expenditures, including equipment costing $500 or more. Competitions and performance and exhibitions not available to the public. So that is what you can't use the funds on. So a little bit about the application process. We are cleaning up some language in the application questions, and it will go out in preview mode tomorrow. I'm going to give myself till end of day. But it will be available through our portal for you to view tomorrow. So you can see the application questions, the narrative questions, and start preparing all your documentation ahead of time. But I will kind of cover those here today, so you have a little idea of what to expect. Excuse me. So applications must be submitted. Yeah. Applications must be submitted to the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council through the grant portal. The applications will be open August 5th and remain open until September 2nd. Late applications are not going to be accepted. Extensions to apply will not be granted, and incomplete applications will be deemed ineligible and will not be reviewed. So it is really important to go through and answer all of the questions. So at first, once you submit your application, the Arts Council staff will review for eligibility purposes. We will work with about 5 to 7 area artists and arts administrators to create an advisory council or an advisory panel, and they will review the applications, submit their reviews and their scores through the grant portal, and basically the highest average scoring applications receive funding. And that is the process. Applicants will then be notified of the status of their applications, award amounts, and grant award agreements will be submitted to them by November. I was actually chatting with someone the other day. November is just a few months away. We're already in wintertime. You know, it's hard to believe. All right, so the panelists will evaluate the applications based on the following criteria. So here are your big questions. The community value. So the applicant demonstrates artistic offerings that strengthen its community culturally, educationally, and/or economically. Artists and artistic offerings and services involve and are meaningful to the community being served, and relevant arts learning opportunities and creative endeavors for community members. So when it comes to the community value question, that is what you are looking for. So here are the questions over the past year. How did your artistic offerings and or services affect your community? I'm not going to read all of these to you. I think everybody has the capability of reading these. But so we're looking at over the past year. That is your big focus. It's the past year that just that you just completed. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion value. So this group of questions focuses on, apart from being audience members or beneficiaries, community members are central to the design of the applicant's work. So that is where they will be, your panel will be evaluating that. Plans and action-oriented practices towards diversity, equity, inclusion, and access in ways that are relevant to your community, including reaching new audiences. So over the past year, you're going to describe your community's involvement in your work and its feedback related to your artistic products and or services. You are also going to describe your organization's plan and work to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion and or access. How did you know that plans and actions were relevant to your community? So answering each of the questions in depth is going to be very beneficial. And the final thing, or the final value, is the stewardship value. So planning process is appropriate to the organization's mission and goals. Capacity to carry out programs and projects as planned, and appropriate financial planning and oversight practices. So this gets taken into consideration along with your financial statements that get submitted. So you're going to describe your most recently completed planning process, including who was involved, describe your key findings and goals, follow this planning process, and how to track and measure progress. You're also going to ensure that you were able to carry about your programs or projects. So tell us how you did that and what degree were you able to do that. And describe your financial planning and oversight practices, including who participates and is accountable for financial management and organizational oversight. All right. Okay, so this is how the criteria is reviewed. Each one of those values has a 30-point max. So your panel will rate you from 0 to 30 on that value, and then we calculate the averages of those and award grants to the highest average. All right, so some important dates. As I stated, I will open up the portal tomorrow for preview of the questions. The applications are going to be due they are open. I'm sorry. They're open August 5th, and they close September 5th. Yes, I think that's what I said. I think I gave myself a month. And then the decisions will be sent out November. And the grant period is January 1 through December 31. All right. So some of you may be familiar with the coffee shop hours. We are not setting up coffee shop hours specifically for drop-in sessions. However, if you would like some one-on-one conversation with me and to discuss an application question or ask any questions, feel free to email me. You can email me the questions directly. I keep that email open. I answer emails a lot, all day. Or you can set up a time to have a one-on-one Zoom session and we can chat through it. I did set up a deadline for Friday, July 26th to try to get that information out there as fast as we can before the application opens to get everybody the best access to the application. Right. Does anyone have any questions? Maybe. I see some questions in the chat. Lisa, have you been answering the questions? Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. Email. Just been great. Giving all the information that I wanted to send out there. Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Stop sharing my screen. Via the PowerPoint. Okay, yeah, we can email that, right? Yes, we can email that. And then the links in the chat do offer up the information about the guidelines. So if you need to review those, there's a little bit more in-depth descriptions and information about the guidelines or about eligibility in the guidelines. All right. Are theatrical performances eligible for the funding? So that is going to depend on, is this an organization that is the primary 501c3, or is it a component of a larger organization? So Chelsea, if you want to email me and we can set up a time to sort of chat through that process, so I can get a better understanding of what your performance is. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thanks, Lisa. Lisa's on top of it. This is nice. I can get used to having someone do all the work for me. All right. Any other questions anyone have? Well, again, if you would like to specifically chat about anything or need a little bit more guidance on any of the eligibility criteria, just let me know, email me, and we'll get this squared away. Yes, if you want to meet me, contact me before July 26th. That's correct. Yeah. Honestly, if you email me now, I'll set up a time right away with you. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you.